If you're looking for the most in-depth Fidelity tutorial for beginners, this is the video for you. We're going to be opening a brand new Fidelity account from scratch. I'm going to be covering the key features on both the app and the desktop platform, and we're also going to be investing $100 in the app, so stick around until the very end. Fidelity was founded back in 1946, and since then they've helped over 50 million people with managing their money and investments. Fidelity has a total of $5.5 trillion in assets under management, as well as $14.1 trillion in assets under administration. So if you're considering investing with them, you're in good company. In recent years, Fidelity has launched some highly innovative investment products that we're going to be diving into later. The first is the Fidelity Zero Index Funds. These index funds come with zero minimums to invest, as well as zero expenses paid to the fund managers. And this is unheard of, because even providers like Vanguard, which are known for having some of the lowest costs in the industry, still charge a nominal expense to investors. Another highly innovative product that they've launched recently is the cryptocurrency ETFs. Fidelity currently offers two of these crypto ETFs that allow you to gain exposure to both Bitcoin and Ethereum through your traditional brokerage account, and I'll be showing you the specifics of that later. These crypto ETFs have been a game changer in terms of democratizing the accessibility to cryptocurrencies overall. Across over 2.5 million reviews, the Fidelity Investments app has a 4.8 out of 5-star rating, which comes as no surprise because of how user-friendly the app is. So without further ado, let's go ahead and open a brand new Fidelity Investments account from scratch. Now, one thing that Fidelity does not offer, unfortunately, is any kind of sign-up bonus or incentive for new users. A lot of brokerage platforms offer free stocks or a deposit bonus for new users. But since Fidelity is so well established and known for being top tier, they simply don't need to spend the extra money in order to attract new users. But if you are looking for a free stock bonus, be sure to check out my Robinhood Investing for Beginners video in the corner, as you can get a free stock worth up to $200 when you sign up. All you have to do is sign up using my affiliate link, which is ryanoscribner.com/Robinhood, and then deposit any amount of money, even as little as $1, and then you will get your free fractional share. You get to choose this free fractional share from a list of 20 leading American companies, so this is a pretty unique incentive. And you can have multiple brokerage accounts, so if you wanted to try out both Robinhood and Fidelity to see what you get for a free stock, you can definitely do that. So let's go ahead and walk through the sign-up process for Fidelity now, starting out with installing the app. You're going to want to visit the App Store, or also do this on Android if you have an Android phone. You're going to click on search and you're going to type in Fidelity. At this point, you can click on the top result here for Fidelity, and it's going to bring up Fidelity Investments, and you're going to go ahead and click on the install button. Once the app has installed, you're going to click on the open button to navigate to the Fidelity app itself. And at this point, we're going to click on the green button at the bottom that says open an account. Now, if you already have a Fidelity account for some reason, you can just go ahead and log in, and you can skip ahead using the table of contents down below. In this case, we're looking to do a general investing account, but they also offer a retirement account as well as a Fidelity crypto account. Now, the Fidelity crypto account is going to be different than purchasing these crypto ETFs. Perhaps I could do a full video on that at a later date, so if you guys are interested in that, leave me a comment down below. For now, we're going to leave it on general investing and click on get started, and this is going to ask you if you are already a customer. So if you have a 401k, for example, with Fidelity or any other type of retirement account, you can use that existing login. We're going to click on no, and then we're going to follow the prompts here for creating a new account. At this point, you get to choose between whether or not this is an individual account just for yourself, or if you're trying to open up a joint account. This is going to be an individual account. Go ahead and put in your first and last name, as well as your middle name if you also use that for your personal identification. Once you have that filled out, we're going to click on the green next button, and now you're going to enter your phone number as well as your email address and your home address. From here, we're going to click on the green next button once again, and at this point you have to enter your social security number as well as your date of birth and country of citizenship. Fidelity is required to report your trading activity to the IRS, so this is going to be a required step for any brokerage account that you are signing up for. Once you've entered this information, you're going to click on the verify it's me button at the bottom, and if everything you entered is correct, you'll get this screen here that says everything checks out, it's really you, and now it's going to ask you a few questions about your employment. The first question is, how do you make a living? And so you're going to click the drop down and choose whether you are self-employed, a business owner, not not employed, retired, or perhaps employed by Fidelity Investments, or just employed in general. In my case, it's going to be self-employed business owner. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this information out and then click on the next button. And then it's going to ask you some required insider trading related questions. Most of these are going to be a no, but we'll go ahead and walk through them together. Read through this list and see whether or not you have family members who are employed by a financial institution, or whether or not a member of your family is a 10% or larger shareholder of a publicly held company. You also have to look to see if you are notified by the IRS that you have backup withholdings. And then it also asks if you're currently in a job related to FINRA, investment advisor, etc., etc. In this case, I'm going to say none of these apply, but if they did, you would click on yes, these apply to me. At this point, you have a decision to make about where your uninvested cash will go. You can either have this go into a money market fund or an interest-bearing account. The money market fund currently pays a 4.94% yield, and then the interest-bearing cash option is a 2.69. I'm going to go ahead and leave it in the money market account, but if you wanted to have this in a traditional cash account, like a bank account, for example, you could select that bottom option, but it is going to be a slightly lower yield. But I'm fine with the money market account, so we're going to click on that and click on next. At this point, it's going to ask you to review the information on screen here, and if everything looks good, you're going to click on the Open My Account button at the very bottom. At this point, the account is open, and now we're going to have to set a username and password, which is what you'll use when you log into the app as well as the desktop platform. So we're going to click on the green button at the bottom. It's also going to send us a two-factor authentication code to the number that we provided, so go ahead and enter that now. And now we're going to enter our desired username and password, so go ahead and complete those steps. And in this case, the username I was looking for wasn't available, so I'm going to have to change that to something else. There's over 50 million people using Fidelity, so it's going to be difficult to get the desired username if you have a common last name, for example. The second attempt there worked and the username was available, so now that is all set, and you can now make a decision about notifications, and then it's going to also have you set up two-factor authentication. At this point, you're going to click on the continue button, and this brings us now to the home screen for your new Fidelity account, and it's now going to prompt us with the next step here, which is going to be linking an external bank account in order to fund your new Fidelity account. Now, you have two options here. You can either set up direct deposit if you want to set that up through your employer, or you can also link a bank account and transfer up to $250,000, which is a very sizable amount of money if you wanted to invest that the same day. We're going to click on link a bank account at the top, and it's now going to bring us into the bank setup. You have two different options here. You can either do an electronic funds transfer or a bank wire transfer, and you can also make the decision here whether or not this is a business bank account. And you have the option of using Finicity, which is going to be an instant verification method where you enter your username and password, or if you prefer to enter your account and routing number manually, you can click on enter my bank information on my own. We're going to leave it just the way it is and click on the green continue button. And at this point, we're going to click on the next button to start the steps here for linking the bank account. So what you're going to do on this screen here is click on your bank if it's listed below, or you're going to search for your bank if you don't see it listed. At this point, you're going to click on the next button once you've selected your bank, and you're going to enter your user ID and password. From here, you're going to click on the submit button at the bottom, and in most cases, you'll get a two-factor code that you have to verify. And at this point, it's going to bring up a list of the bank accounts that you can link, and if you have multiple accounts, you're going to select the account that you want to link as your source of funds. And this will also be the account that you withdraw funds to if you decide to transfer money out of your Fidelity account at a later date. So go ahead and select one of your accounts and then click on the save button. And just like that, we successfully linked our bank account. So at this point, if you want to initiate a transfer right away, you can click on the go to transfer button, and then it's going to prompt you with the steps here to initiate the transfer. So you're going to select the account that you just linked as your from account, and then you're going to select the to account, which is going to be your new individual Fidelity account. Now you can do a recurring transfer here if you want to do this on a set schedule, for example, weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. But in this case, we're just going to do a one-time transfer. And as mentioned before, we're going to be investing $100 in this new Fidelity account. So we're going to click on the continue button at the bottom. At this point, you have to review the transfer details. And if everything looks good, you can click on the submit button at the bottom. And then the transfer request has been submitted. Now, this is going to give you an estimate on when the funds will arrive. And it looks like it's going to take about 1 to 2 business days. So if we click on the X in the corner, we can now navigate back to the home screen, and it should show something about this transfer on the main screen information here. Yes, you can see here where it shows $100 in the individual account, but because the transfer hasn't settled yet, it shows that there is $0 in settled cash. Now, it looks like they do give you an advance here that you can use to invest with, so you can invest that money right away, as it shows $100 available to trade. So if you wanted to invest before that money settled, you are able to do that with your Fidelity account. Now we're going to go ahead and make our first investment using the Fidelity app, and if you guys have enjoyed this video so far and gotten any value out of it, if you could please take 2 seconds and drop a like on this video, as well as subscribe and hit the bell. It would really help me out here with the YouTube algorithm. What we're going to want to do here is click on the search icon in the top right, and we're now going to invest in the Fidelity 500 index fund, which is very similar to the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, for example, VOO. Now, the symbol for that is FXAIX, but if you didn't know the symbol, you could also type in the name here, for example, the Fidelity and then the 500, and that's going to show up there as FXAIX. If you wanted to also buy VOO, if you preferred Vanguard, you could just type in VOO, and it's going to show us that Vanguard 500 index fund. This Fidelity index fund actually has lower expenses compared to Vanguard, so a lot of people prefer to invest with this one. And on this page here, you can get information about this particular fund. You can look at the performance and hypothetical growth of $10,000 year to date. So for example, year to date, 10,000 would have grown to 11,757 as the market has had some strong returns this year. Over the 1 year, you can see that chart as well. The 3 year, over the last 5 years, you would have roughly doubled your money investing in the S&P 500, which is what this index tracks. And over a 10-year period, that 10,000 would be worth about 33,850. If we scroll down here, you can get information about the most recent quote price for this, but Fidelity allows you to buy fractional shares, so you don't have to worry about that too much. And you can see here the net expense ratio is just 0.01%. So with VOO, for example, it's a 0.03% expense ratio. So there are some savings here associated with this. And because this is an index mutual fund, this is exclusive to Fidelity, so you can't buy this through other brokerage platforms. Fidelity does offer ETFs that are available through other platforms, but the index mutual funds are going to be exclusive to Fidelity. If we click on the research tab, you can get information here about the expense ratio again, the Morningstar category. You can take a look at the dividends that are paid out, and you can also see what the top 10 holdings are. So in this particular case, 34% of your money goes right into these top 10 holdings here, and that includes big tech companies like Apple, Microsoft, NVDA, Amazon, Meta, Google, and then you have Berkshire Hathaway, Broadcom, and Tesla making up the biggest portion. If we go back here to overview, once again, you can scroll down and see more details about the performance and things like that. But what we're going to want to do from here is click on the green buy button at the very bottom. And at this point, you can choose to invest on a recurring schedule or a one-time buy. We're going to do a one-time purchase, and this brings up the order ticket window here where we get to choose the amount that we're looking to invest. So we're going to put 50 of this $100 into this particular fund. And then if we click here, we can see here that we have $100 in cash available to trade, so that should be good for us. And there is a $0 transaction fee. So we're going to click on the preview order button, and this is going to buy us 0.257 shares of the FXAIX Fidelity 500 index fund. But one thing I want to show you right here is it has this notification at the top here that the buy order is going to exceed the cash balance, which means that we can buy this, but we can't sell it yet, because if we end up selling this, this is considered to be a good faith violation, and this can cause restrictions on your trading account. So if you're going to invest with that borrowed money, essentially, that they're loaning you before your funds settle, just understand that you can't sell it until that cash balance actually transfers over from your bank. But in this case, this is going to be a long-term demo investment, so that's no problem. And we're going to click on the green buy button at the bottom, and this is going to officially place the order. Now, if you want to see what happened here with the order, we can click on track order, and it shows the order is still open here. So let me go ahead and click on that and see if there's anything that's restricting this from closing at this point in time. There shouldn't be. It might be the fact that there is a set order window here for these index mutual funds. I'm not entirely sure. But what we're also going to do at this point now is click on the home button, because I want to invest in fractional shares of a stock as well. So we're going to go ahead and click on the search button in the top right, and we're going to invest in some fractional shares of NVIDIA. So in this case, I know the symbol is NVDA. We can go ahead and type that in, and that brings up NVIDIA at the very top. Just like before, you can look at the different time horizons and see what the returns have been for the stock. You can also click on it to get a more detailed idea of the pricing activity. But what we're going to do here is just click on the buy button. And at this point, we're going to have $50 available to trade since we have that other pending order. And we want to invest in dollars. If you wanted to buy whole shares, you could leave this on shares. So for example, one share would cost $118.77. But in this case, we want to invest with dollars. So we're going to put $40 into this particular stock. That'll leave us with a $10 balance just in case we decide to do something else with that for demo purposes. And we want to do this as a market order. If you want to specify the exact price that you are going to pay, you could do a limit order and then set that price between the bid and the ask price. But in this case, a market order is fine since we want to have rapid order execution. From here, we're going to click on preview order, and then we're going to take a look here at the final details. This is going to be $40 invested. There's $0 paid in commissions, and we're going to click on the place order button at the very bottom. And at this point, we can click here on view order status. And in this case, our order was filled for NVIDIA. So the other order is still open here for the Fidelity 500 index fund. We'll check on that at a later date to see if that actually fills. I think it has to do with the order window here for these index mutual funds. It might be a set time of day when they fulfill all of those orders. But for a stock, for example, that's going to be any time throughout the trading day. So that's why that order filled immediately at $118.90 per share. And we ended up buying fractional shares. It doesn't show exactly how much, but if we visit our portfolio screen under investing and we go here to positions, we can see it's actually 0.336 shares. So we're going to leave this be for now, and we'll check back at a later date to see if the order for the Fidelity 500 index fund actually fills. Alrighty guys, so now we're going to jump into the Fidelity desktop platform just to show you what that interface looks like, and we're also going to go through a couple of the different research features. But the first thing I want to do here is just give you an overview of the homepage when you log into your Fidelity account, and this will be the same login that you created earlier on in the tutorial. So first of all, from the main page here, you can see the balance in your account. You can also get an update on the markets here on the right. If you scroll down here, you can see top movers in the market as well as the most active stocks that people are trading. And you can also click here to get information on earnings dates for your stocks in your portfolio, dividend dates that are coming up if you own any dividend stocks, and other stocks that you might own that have hit 52-week highs, 52-week lows, etc. And you'll also have a news feed here that's going to be curated to your investments in your portfolio, or you can click on top news to see what are the top economic news articles that have come out today. Now, one thing I wanted to mention here is that our order here for the Fidelity 500 index fund did end up closing, but it took until the end of the trading day, and that's because these mutual fund orders are all going to be settled at the same time, which is going to be a few hours after the market closes. Now, after clicking on this brings us over to the research page for that Fidelity 500 index fund, and if you are looking to do research on funds or stocks, things like that, you might find the desktop platform is a little bit more robust and just has a better layout here of the overall information for you. But for now, I want to navigate over to my portfolio. So for that, we're going to hover over accounts and trade, and we're going to click on portfolio. From here, it brings us back to the main screen that we were just on, but in this case, what we're going to do is click on the positions tab, and this is going to show us our positions that we have. So first of all, we have our extra cash, which is held in that money market account. That was the setting that we chose earlier. And then we also have the Fidelity 500 index fund fractional share investment here. We ended up buying 0.255 shares, and we also have our investment in NVIDIA. Now, so far, even since buying that, we've actually lost a little bit of money here on NVIDIA. It's down about 78 cents, or overall down 1.79% from our purchase date, and the investment in the Fidelity 500 index fund is actually up a very small amount here, 0.04%. Now, you're not going to need to pay attention to things that closely, but I just wanted to show you how you'd be able to tell whether or not you are up or down on a particular particular investment. And at the bottom, it shows us the performance for our portfolio overall. So we started off with $100. We now have $99.30. So technically we've lost 0.7%, roughly 0.78 here it says, or roughly 70 cents. But again, you're not going to worry about things on that short term of a time horizon. What matters with the stock market is how these perform over the long run, which is going to be many financial quarters, if not many years projected out into the future. What I want to show you now is some of the built-in research tools here with the Fidelity desktop platform, and I'm not going to be able to cover everything in this video, otherwise this would be like a 3-hour video because there's just so much that Fidelity offers. Each one of these tabs here has at least a dozen different things you can look into. You know, they have planning and advice if you wanted to get into having retirement planning services. We are going to touch on the Robo investing portion later on, as that is a pretty useful feature. Under news and research, you can do research on all of these different types of financial assets. Products is going to show you all the different offerings they have. They even get into life insurance, annuities, health savings accounts, 529s, you name it, and Fidelity has it built in if it's related to investing or managing your money. But what we're going to start with now is going over here to the news and research, and we're going to click on mutual funds. This is going to bring up the fund screener for us, so if you wanted to look for a particular type of mutual fund for your investment goals, you could use this to find and narrow down your criteria. So this drop down here allows you to choose the asset class if you're looking for alternatives, commodities, international equity, etc., money market, bonds, all sorts of different options. So we're just going to select US equity for now in this particular case. And then you can also choose whether you're looking for Fidelity funds. So let's say you're just looking for Fidelity funds only, as those are going to be some of the best options as a Fidelity investor. And then you can also look at ones that have a minimum investment of less than $2,500, so that would also be useful. And let's say you're looking for an index approach to management instead of an active approach. That means you're not paying mutual fund managers to actively pick and choose the investments. Instead, it is just going to be a passive approach where they are following an underlying index. Over here, you can choose options as far as their expenses, returns, and overall Morningstar rating. So let's say you're looking for low expense funds only. We'll leave the return the way it is, and we'll leave Morningstar rating just the way it is. And this tells us there's going to be 16 funds that meet our criteria. So if we click on that, it brings up a list of all of these Fidelity funds that are going to be in the US equities market. And right on top there, we have the Fidelity 500 index fund, but there's all of these different options here if you wanted to further explore these. Now, one popular group of funds are these Fidelity Zero Index mutual funds. So we're going to click on one here, the Fidelity Large Cap Index Fund. And if you're looking to minimize your costs as much as possible here, you might consider these funds, because the key benefit here is they have a net expense ratio of 0.00%, meaning that you aren't paying any expenses to the fund managers for managing your money in this particular fund. Now, this is not going to be the same as investing in the Fidelity 500 Index Fund in terms of the portfolio mix. So make sure you do research on these Fidelity Zero Index funds before you decide to invest in them. But if you are looking to minimize fees, this is one of the best options out there. But let's say instead of looking for a mutual fund, you're looking for an ETF or exchange traded fund. You would go up here to the news and research tab, and then you could use the ETF screener and do the same thing that I just showed you here, but instead of looking at mutual funds, this would allow you to screen over 2,500 plus ETFs, and you can look through all of these different providers. So if you wanted to just see what Fidelity had to offer, you could look at all of their different categories of ETFs here. Sector ETFs that are going to be specific to one segment of the economy, actively managed ETFs, fixed income, factor, thematic, and even digital asset funds. If we click on those, for example, this is going to bring us over to their crypto ETFs, and they have three particular funds here. They have FBTC, the Fidelity Wise Origin Bitcoin Fund, FETH, the Fidelity Ethereum Fund, and they also have FDIG, which is the Fidelity Crypto Industry and Digital Payments ETF. Now, FBTC is going to have 100% allocation into Bitcoin, FETH is 100% allocation into Ethereum, and FDIG is going to own companies that have exposure to cryptocurrencies or digital payments, so that's not specifically owning cryptocurrencies themselves. So for example, if we click here on FBTC, just to get a general idea of what this ETF is about, we can see here there is 100% holdings in Bitcoin, so there's nothing else that this fund owns, and it also mentions their net expense ratio of 0.25%. That is a little bit higher than a lot of their other products, but this is their new and trendy ETF, so they are cashing in a little bit here and making their money. And as you can see, this has become quite popular with 10.52 billion in net assets being invested in this crypto ETF alone. So the ETF screener can be extremely useful if you're looking to find ETFs that you want to invest in. And the other research tool I want to show you here is the stocks screener. Now, individual stock investing is really not recommended for the majority of people out there. Long-term investing in index funds or ETFs, for example, is what most people should be looking to do. But that being said, I still want to show you how these tools work in case you are looking to own any individual stocks in your portfolio. After clicking on stocks, it brings you to this page here, which is going to show you the top rated stocks within each sector. For example, it's going to show you the largest trades in terms of orders placed by Fidelity customers. So this can be good for a high-level overview. For example, if you're looking for communication services related stocks, the top symbol there is Verizon, or some of these other options here for real estate, utilities, information technologies, etc. But let's say, for example, you are looking for companies that are reporting earnings soon. You can click here, and this is going to give you a list of companies that are all expected to be reporting earnings soon. Now, it's not recommended to trade stocks around earnings, but again, this is where you would find that. You can also find companies with upcoming dividend payments by clicking on this, and this is going to show you companies that have stock splits that are planned out in the foreseeable future. But what I want to show you now is the actual screener tool for stocks. So if you click on screener tools and click on start a stock screen, this will bring you to a different page here, which is going to activate the stock screener. So this is going to show you where you can look at themes, for example, which is going to be managed strategies from Fidelity experts, or you can click here on strategies and you can pick different strategies. For example, popular, growth and value, technical income, etc. But if you wanted to just look at particular stocks, for example, and not strategies, you would then click over here and you can choose different selections. For example, market capitalization. Let's say you were only interested in mega cap stocks. If you check that box, it's going to narrow you down now to just the 29 companies that are worth 315 billion and above. From here, if you wanted to add additional criteria, for example, if we look here at dividends, let's say you're looking for stocks based on dividend yield, you can click here and say that you're looking for mega cap companies with a medium dividend yield in excess of basically 2.25%. This now gives you a list of those specific stocks that are both large cap and have a dividend yield in that set range. So this can be great for just getting ideas for different investments, and you can play around with all of these tools with any type of Fidelity account that you have. Now I'm going to show you how to sell an investment using Fidelity, and this is not something that you should be planning on doing yourself in terms of quickly buying and selling investments. However, just for demo purposes, it is going to be useful, and we're going to do this on desktop just so you're familiar with both interfaces. The first thing you're going to do is hover over accounts and trade, and then you can click here on account positions, and this is going to bring us back to our positions tab that we visited earlier. So let's say, for example, you wanted to sell NVDA even though you were down. Let's say you wanted to sell off $20 worth of that position. What you would do from here is click on the trade button in the top left, and this is going to bring up the order ticket window. So first thing you have to do here is select your account, and if you have multiple accounts, you'll be able to choose it from that drop down, and then you are going to type in the symbol or select it from your list. So we're going to choose NVIDIA here, and it shows you the current quotation price for this. And you can have the option here to sell in either shares or dollar amounts, as well as buy in shares or dollars. So we're going to sell in dollars, and we're going to sell off $20 worth of this particular position, and we want to do a market order so that way it executes immediately, and this will get us an estimated $20 after we sell. From here, we're going to click on the preview order button, and this is actually an interesting teachable moment here because we're actually doing this video before the market opened at about 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so we're not actually able to place that order just yet. So what I'll do is later on when we revisit the app, I will go through the sale over there, but now you are at least familiar with the steps here that you'd follow on the desktop too. But what about transferring funds back to your bank account from your Fidelity account? Let's say you have some investment gains, you sell off some stocks, and you're looking to move that money to your bank account. If you want to do that, you're going to click here on the transfers tab, and this is going to give you all sorts of different options for what you're looking to do. So we're looking to do an EFT, electronic funds transfer to or from a bank, so we're going to click on that. And then from here, you're going to choose the account to transfer from. So in this case, it's going to be our individual portfolio account. And right now we don't have any withdrawable cash because it hasn't settled the deposit that we made, but I will walk you through the steps as far as we can go here. And then you're going to choose your to account, which is going to be your bank account. And at this point, you can choose if it's a one-time or a recurring transfer. We're going to do a one-time transfer, and let's just put in $1. Now, it's probably not going to let me go any further here, but if we click here on continue, it actually does, which is cool. So this is telling us we have to sell some investments and free up cash to complete the transfer. So if we scroll down here, it gives us options for investments that we could sell if we wanted to complete that transfer. From here, we would just click on continue and then verify those transfer details. In most cases, you'd want to have settled cash available to transfer versus having to sell off some of your investments in order to have the funds for that transfer. Now, before we switch back over to the app, the last thing I want to show you in the desktop view here is the Fidelity Robo Advisor. To get to that, you're going to hover over planning and advice, and then you have the Robo Investing Plus Advice here. So we're going to click on that. And this brings us over to the page here for the Fidelity Go Robo Advisor. So if you're looking to invest in a diversified manner without doing all of the picking and choosing of investments yourself, this Fidelity Robo Advisor is a really popular option. So a few details here about this is there is no advisory fee for balances under $25,000. So if you're just starting out, that's actually a benefit here because you're not going to pay any advisory fees. Now, once you have a balance of $25,000 or more, you're going to pay a 0.35% advisory fee, which is still a lot less than you'd be paying for a in-person financial advisor, for example. Now, you will still pay an expense ratio associated with the mutual funds and ETFs that are going to be in your portfolio. So the advisory fee is in addition to that, but it comes with the benefit here of not having to manage your portfolio. If you scroll down here, you can learn about how they build these strategies to meet your goals, for example. So you're going to fill out information about your risk tolerance, and that's going to change the diversification of your portfolio. So if you're looking for a more conservative approach, that would be a lot of money in bonds, a small amount in stocks, and then some amount here in short-term investments or bonds, whatever that may be in that category. Or let's say you were looking for a very aggressive approach, that would be 70% domestic, 30% foreign stocks, and nothing in bonds. And if you were middle of the road, that's something similar to what your portfolio might look like. And it will also adjust this over time as you approach retirement or whatever the goal is that you set. So this is something you might want to check out yourself after you dive into the Fidelity platform if you want help with managing your money. Okay guys, so here we are back in the Fidelity app itself, and there's just a few more things I want to show you here that we didn't cover in the first part, going through the app functionalities. The first thing here I want to show you is how to create a watch list if there's stocks or funds that you want to keep an eye on. And you're going to do that by clicking here on investing, and then you're going to click on watch lists here, and this is where you can manage a watch list. And the first thing we have to do here is actually create a name for the watch list. So we're just going to call this Ryan's watch list. And then you click below here to add a symbol. So let's say, for example, you wanted to keep track of AMD stock. You could type that in here and select that, and that adds this to the watch list. You can also put in a theoretical quantity if you wanted to track the price. So this can also be sort of like a trading simulator in a way. And let's say you also wanted to add another symbol here in terms of Apple, for example. So that adds Apple and AMD to our watch list. And if we click on done, this now creates that watch list for us, and we have this option here. Now, if we click on detail, it's going to show us how that price has changed from the time that we actually added it to our watch list. So that can be pretty helpful if you're looking to practice your trading and see how this investment would have performed for you had you actually made that. So paper trading can be super useful, especially for beginners. The next thing I want to show you here is this transact button. So if you're looking to buy or sell additional shares of something that you own, you have this option here at the top that shows NVDA and the Fidelity 500 index fund in our case. You also have the option here for executing a trade, executing a transfer to a bank account, automating an investment, making a deposit, or even sending a payment to another Fidelity customer. What I want to show you here is automated investments. So if we click here on automate, this could allow you to set up a recurring investment if you want, a recurring transfer, a smart habit, or even a recurring activity. Now, we're not going to have time to get into all of these, but I wanted to just show you how you would create a recurring recurring investment. You would click on the top option here, and then you would choose a stock or ETF that you want to use here in this case, or you could actually do a mutual fund or Fidelity basket portfolio. We're going to select mutual funds here, and then you're going to choose the account. So we're going to select our individual account, and then you're going to add your symbol. So let's say you wanted to do this with the Fidelity 500 index fund. You would select that and then click on done. And let's say you wanted to invest $5 in this every single trading day, for example, if that's an option. If not, we might have to do it weekly. And you could also add up to 10 symbols in each one of these recurring investments if you wanted to spread your money out into different assets. Under frequency, you have the options for weekly, every 2 weeks, or monthly. So you can't do every single trading day, but you could do every single week if you wanted to, and then you can select the day of the week. So if you wanted to every single Monday put $5 into the Fidelity 500 index fund, you can set that up here. And if you wanted to have an end date in mind of how long this operates for, you can set that accordingly. And you can toggle this option here to use your linked bank account as the payment source for that recurring transfer. So that's how you would set up a recurring investment if you wanted to automatically invest using Fidelity. The next thing I want to show you is this planning tab here, which can be helpful for other aspects of your financial life. So this right now just shows my net worth related to this Fidelity portfolio, but if you link to other accounts, for example, you could get an idea of your overall net worth across your different accounts. You can also set up goals here for retirement, college, savings, etc. So for example, if I click here on retirement, this is going to have you put in what age you plan on retiring. So by default, you have 67. So we're going to click on next. And then it asks you whether or not you have started saving for retirement yet. So let's just say no, not yet. And then you put in your estimated annual salary. So let's say somebody is making $75,000, and then we're going to click on next. And now this has created a retirement savings goal for us based on our salary and our retirement age. So if we click on review the results here, it shows us what our estimated income is per month and then what our estimated expenses are going to be. So in this case, the estimated expenses would be $8,128 a month. And this can be helpful if you're looking to get a plan for how much money you would need to set aside in your retirement account, for example. And you can do this for your college savings or other major life goals if you wanted to as well, and keep track of those here. You can also set up spend tracking if you wanted to track your overall spending across your different accounts. You can even get free credit score monitoring here, as well as debt analysis. So there's all sorts of different things here that Fidelity can help you with outside of just general investments. And then if we click on the Discover tab here, this is where you can view different collections of stocks, and you can also view top market movers, for example. And there's even some helpful videos here that are related to different investment topics. So there's a lot in the app here, and there's definitely educational tools if you want to learn more about investing in general. Now, before I go ahead and sell off a portion of my NVIDIA stock, the last thing I want to show you here is how to edit your dividend reinvestment settings in case you want to change where your dividends are going. And to do that, you're actually going to click on the three dots here in the top right and leverage the Fidelity Assistant. So in this case, we're going to type in dividend reinvestment as our topic that we're looking to discuss here. And then it mentions here that we can choose an account here to change the dividend reinvestment settings. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. And now it says here that it has a mixed plan right now for what happens with the dividends. So you can either reinvest it back into the security that issued it, deposit it to the core account, or cancel altogether. We're going to click reinvest in security, and it says here you've chosen to change your dividend reinvestment plan for all your positions in your account to reinvest in the security. Are you sure? We're going to confirm that. And just like that, we have updated our dividend reinvestment settings so that way our dividends go back into whatever fund or stock issued it in the first place using fractional shares. This Fidelity Assistant can be super helpful for various tasks, so definitely keep that in mind if you're looking to change settings and you don't know where to go. The last thing I want to show you here is how to sell off a portion of an investment. So we're going to click on transact once again, and then we're going to click on trade. And from here, we're going to click on NVIDIA. At this point, we're going to click on sell at the bottom right, and this is going to show the order ticket here for us. So by default, it's showing us selling in shares, but we want to sell in dollars, and we're going to sell off $20 worth of NVIDIA stock. And then we want to do a market order in this case. So we're going to click on preview order once we are all set. And then if everything looks good on this screen after we scroll down, we're going to click on place order, and it shows that this was filled at $117.93, and we did in fact sell off $20 worth of that. So if we navigate now back to the home screen, it's going to show us with $29.98 available to trade. The last thing I want to show you as well is where you would locate your tax forms. You would click on the person icon in the top right, and this is going to be a lot of the other options that you might be looking for, and then you would click here on tax forms. Now I'm not going to have anything in here since I just opened the account, but when you are ready to file your taxes, that is where you would locate those forms yourself. And just like that, you are now up and running with a brand new Fidelity account. If you made it to the very end of the video, don't forget to drop a like as well as subscribe and hit the bell for that YouTube algorithm and to be notified of my future investing tutorials just like this one. In addition, leave me a comment down below if you have any questions or suggested topics for future videos. You can click below to watch my full video about Fidelity index funds to learn more about those specific investments, and I hope to see you there.